houses here in Virginia, and two chambers above stair.
Huh?
It is most fine home. Even in England, this would be a nice home. But then again, he is minister. It is a position of great respect.
Got to take care of the minister.
Exactly.
Whoops, I'm sorry.
See, some are making clothes, cooking, of course, on this fire. Although I believe that today they will be cooking some porridge outside, since it is so dreadfully hot that you cannot cook in here. I mean, but
So how many servants would he have had?
I think he has perhaps 4 or 5. Some would do planting for him, of course, too, for he would be given a piece of land to support himself.
Would they all have stayed in here, in this room?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Sleep upon, just pull a bed upon the floor. A bed, of course, simply being a sack stuffed with straw.
Yes.
Or,
Wow.
so, while I'm here today, and my husband, did I mention I am Mistress Davis? My husband is
Yes.
Captain of the Guard, yes. That is why I'm here today. So, he will be leading the militia. And you feel free. You might see the chambers above stair if you would like to.
Is for probably a few centuries, this is the dominant weapon of Europe. And in the hands of very skilled mercenaries or soldiers. So here in Virginia, since you only have a few men here that even might be remotely trained on the pike, they're only going to use the pike in very limited circumstances. But we know that some of the settlements, they bring in a box of pike heads, so they apparently want some of their people to be trained on them. And there's a couple of reasons why you want the pike, and then there's a couple of reasons why you don't want the pike. If I was to say to you, all right, well look, if I'm going to advance my pike, which is this position, this is how you stand in formation with other pikemen, right? And let's just say we are moving against the enemy. And the only thing I'm not wearing right now is my armor and my helmet. But pikemen don't move very fast in armor. But as a block, it's like a snapping turtle. You don't want to get too close to it. You can outrun it, and you can kind of kill a snapping turtle, but you still got to be really good about it. All right, so if the pike is basically a snapping turtle or something like that, the idea is that there's strengths and weaknesses. The first thing you have to understand is that pikemen in Europe are exceedingly strong men. If you want to come around here, I'll let you hold the pike. This modern military, where a lot of times they take their distances by their one arm length or their elbow or their so on and so forth. Actually, this is just to counterbalance the pike on your arm, right? So if I'm in this posture, the way this works is that I'm always trying to counterbalance this 7 to 8 to 9 pound thing on my shoulder or more. This one's actually a bit bigger. So what I'm going to do is let you hold this. It's fine, but I'm going to let you know right now it's going to seem like a lot. So you have to find that comfort spot right against your hollow of your forearm, your shoulder arm, and definitely hold your elbow out. All right. So what you would do is you would go from the order, which is keeping it down by your right foot, right toe. Here's your posture, and they would say, "Advance your pike," and that's the pace they want you to move at. So if I said, "Advance your pike," that's the speed to which you move. So that's the way it works. So, all right. And the reason why you sometimes don't want to move too fast, this is a basic train and it can't stop once it gets in motion very well. Okay. So if you're at order your pike and they'll say, "Advance your pike," there's several motions. The first thing you have to do is get your hand a little down so you can use leverage. Then you elevate with that hand, reach over with your left, and now here's the fun part. You got to disengage the right hand to get it under the pike. All right, so at the same time, you've got to find the sweet spot with your left hand against your shoulder. All right, so here it goes.
Wow.
All right, so I'll let you try first. All right, so keep it at your order by your right toe. All right, good. Left hand elbow out, good. Now if I was to say, advance your pike. All right, go ahead. Find the left hand quick on it. Good, there you go. Get it up straight. Get your right hand under quick. Right hand's got to come under the bottom. There you go. Now counterbalance with your elbow. Get that left arm on the other side outward. There you go. Wow. All right. Now this is not what they want them to march around in all the time because it is labor. It's labor, right?
Oh, yeah.
So what they would do is tell you to slope your pike, which is to let it lean, but you got to let some of that come out. So you got to reach your arm across, the other arm, let it ease out until you find the balance beam effect. Where can you find the balance beam where it doesn't hurt? Right there, good. All right, so that's sloping your pike. All right, so now what they're going to do, which is really fun in formation, is level your pike. Now, if I'm behind you in formation, this is what our pike does, all right? Level your pike, comes right over my shoulder.
Crap.
So how fun is that?
Oh, but now you got it.
Yeah, right. Push it down. Good. All right, and order your pike. Bring it. You're a working lad, so this might be good muscle work for you. This hand goes on the bottom. All right, this one. Now switch hands.
Switch hands, Brian.
There you go. All right, now straighten up. All right, now keep it against your shoulder. Is it hard?
Back up here.
Oh! Woo! Is it heavy?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Right, I know. So the pikemen in Europe are big, strong men. They're pretty famous for it too. So anyway, the pike is not used a lot in Virginia for an obvious reason. What do you see all around you right here? Trees. So if I'm a pikeman, or we're in a pike formation, and everybody's got these things that are 12 feet long in their hands, and we're trying to move through that,
all over the place.
we're going to have a lot of problems. So a lot of times what they're probably going to do with these pikes is train the men to defend the forts they live in with these. Could you imagine trying to come through the gate at Jamestown or Henricus or some other place, and there's a block of 50 men, like a giant porcupine, right, coming after you? So the idea, though, is you have to train those people, because if you don't train on this, not only might you get stabbed by the end of this, but if I was just to drop this wooden shaft on your neck, you're going to be out. So the pike drill is very difficult. So again, it's not heavily brought to Virginia because what are most of the people doing? Are they full-time soldiers?
No.
They're part-time. And I could train any of you to part-time shoot any day of the week. And in fact, most Americans are part-time shooters. But most people are not full-time soldiers. So the pikemen in Europe, that's what they are. And they travel around. If you're a Spanish pikeman, you serve wherever the Pope tells you to go. Whatever part of the world the Holy Roman Empire is at, you go. And in fact, some of the still legendary people still guard the Pope, who are pikemen. You ever heard of them? They're called the Vatican Guard, the Papal Guard.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Have you ever seen them in their dress clothing? They look like kind of clown outfits. They're very striped, and they have pole-arms. They don't hold the pikes anymore. They have halberds. But when they protect the Pope, they're wearing suits and they carry Glocks. But traditionally, they would follow the Pope around with pole arms and in their fancy uniforms. And why? Because they were the best. The Swiss, ironically, right? Well, how do you think the Swiss started getting bankroll 500, 600, 700 years ago? They rented out their soldiers. That's some of their wealth comes from that. All right. So did you want to try holding this? All right. I'm gonna let you know. Just like Brian, I know he's a strong guy. I'm strong. All right. So I'm gonna start you off with the basics. But you got to come over here so we got a clearance on the pike. All right. Yeah. Now, I have 5 drill pikes over here. So I was gonna put all of you in the militia. All right. So here's what I want you to do. Stand in line with these 5. Then those are the pikes. I want to put you through the quick training regiment. All right. That's your pike for a few minutes. Watch your hands. Don't get too many splinters. But what we would have to do is we would have to put our pikes on the ground when we're not using them. So this is a fun little training thing. So what we're going to do, I'll give you the easy way. Put your right foot by the bottom of this. When I say raise up your pike, all I want you to do is keep your foot kind of like pushed against the bottom. Excellent, all right? Then I want you to lean forward with the left foot and do this. Good. Right hand. All right. Brace that thing at the bottom, otherwise it's going to get really challenging. All right, pull it up. Left hand.
Keep it on the
Keep it on the ground. Don't let it, there you go. All right, good. Now keep that right by your right foot, right toe like this. Then the posture is to have your left fist against your left hip. All right, good. And that's going to be your counterbalance, which is going to be important for the pike. So this is called order your pike. It's a good position. All right, all right. Then the next command is to get off the ground, which is called advance your pike. You're advancing it. You're moving it somewhere. So here we go. Ready? Advance your pike. All right, just follow my hands. Drop the right hand down a little bit. Good. Lift it off the ground. Left hand goes toward the bottom. All right, now you're going to bring it against your shoulder. Good, good. Now you're going to detach the right hand, put it under the bottom. And now you got to place it against your shoulder. Left hand goes out. All right. Now, I wouldn't teach you how to march like this for weeks. This is just stationary, all right? So what you're going to do now is you're going to have that right foot out slightly like this. It's counterbalance, ballet. You ever hear ballet? Mm-hmm. Ballet is all about balance, right? And ballet, in many ways, was something soldiers had to learn because of the balance. All right. So here's what I want you to do. Keep your posture straight up, shoulders back, just like soldiers are taught today. And now what you're going to do is, I don't even have armor on you, right? See that armor over there? See that? You're going to be wearing that and a helmet while you're doing this. So we got to get it down without the armor, then we march. All right, let's do one move. From this, all I want you to do is port your pike. And now watch me first. Take a left step forward. Good. Take your left hand, put it up by your ear on the pike. Good. All I want you to do is bring your pike down so it's almost pointing at the tree. Back. Good. Good. That's port your pike. Get your right hand back in the back. All the way to the bottom. There you go. That's that. And this is how we march into the fight. Now keep going. That's where you're at. No, don't move. Don't move. Don't move. All right, you see my pike? Get yours just at the angle mine is at. Good, because I don't want to hit our pike heads together. So get it down a little lower. Good. So this is how we march going into battle. 10 behind 10. All right, now we're going to charge our pike. Charge means do this. Level towards the eyes of the people. Oh, wait, okay. You haven't, okay. Let me get in front of you. All right, watch. All right, that's why the veterans have to teach, right? All right, so if I got in my position, here I am. If I was to put my position in this way, right? All right, we got that. Now notice my right hand is behind and on top of the bottom. That's like a balance. It's like I'm balancing it with my hand, right? Good. So we stay at this position until we're really close to the enemy, and then we level it at their eyeballs. And then the sergeants and officers are giving us a cadence. And that's going to be step. We have to go together. If we don't go together, some dad's going, no, hold on, no, you've got to be right behind them. Oh yeah, pikes, we're like a giant porcupine, all right? And step. Step. Ooh, it's hard, isn't it? All right? And when the time comes, you stay there, but if I'm in the front and I'm told to push, 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 All right, you want to try it? All right, let's go over to the target. All right, take your pike with you. We're going to try to mass our muskets in a way that can basically shoot down as many of these slow-moving pikemen as possible. And they do it by an old-fashioned system. The Romans, have you ever pictured how the Romans fight battles? The Dutch and the English start copying the Roman formations that created the Empire of Rome. The only difference is, did the Romans have guns? No. So the English and the Spanish are going to go at it for what, 30 years? The Dutch will fight the Spanish consecutively for 80 years. And eventually the Dutch will get their independence from Spain, because the Spanish had conquered Europe, Central America, most of South America. So most people didn't necessarily want the Spaniards ruling them. So, but anyway, so what I'm going to let you do is a rare time right now. You get a fun moment. You're going to try to use the real pike. Is that cool?
I did.
All right, here you go. Bring it in farther, right there, good. Now put the backhand all the way out. Good, good, that's it. That's it. Now you feel you got to hold on it. Now all I want you to do is back up a little bit, and don't stab into this. I just want you to march forward and put that pike head into that red. Think you can do it? All right, go. Good. That's where it starts. So do it again. Good. And what they're going to teach you is you do that, and then when you get comfortable, you start using your extension, which is your pushing. All right. So when you start, if you watch movies like 300, right, with the Spartans and all, And you see how they defeated Xerxes' army. Well, I shouldn't say defeated, they lost at Thermopylae. But, you know, there was 300 Spartans that fought, well, what, 500,000 of Xerxes' warriors? They don't know how many they killed. The reason why they did so well for so long is because they were experts at not breaking their formation. The formation is non-vulnerable unless you start to get people hurt on the edges and then the next layer in gets hurt. Same thing with pikes. So how do you do that? If you're not good with the pike and they're wearing lots of good armor, it's really hard. So the English and the Dutch went, you know what? I'm willing to bet that a musket ball can get through most of that armor. Okay, that means we got to make the guns bigger, more powerful, better gunpowder. So it gets down to science. Just like all military technology, it's down to science. So what would you rather be, knowing what you know so far on the site? Would you rather be somebody who was equipped in Virginia with a musket or a pike?
Probably a pike.
You like the pike? Yeah. So what they would do if they were training you with that, and I'm going to take a guess, I don't know for a fact because they usually don't write things like this down, is that the pikemen, who are these bigger, stronger guys, are probably the ones who are a little older, bigger, heavier, can handle the weight of the pike, are less mobile in the woods, and probably were just taught to guard the fort with pikes, and that's probably their job. I have no evidence of that.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's right. Most of the pikemen in Europe are traditionally over 6 feet tall and are brawnier. But brawnier 400 years ago is not like brawny today. So I'm considered brawny 400 years ago. But anyway, did you have fun with the pike? Yeah. I mean, did it look that heavy when you first looked at it?
Of tobacco. So if you don't have any, you don't have any money to spend. If it occurs in the fall, after you've already gotten all of your tobacco in, you're getting ready to ship it back to England, and they burn your barn down, still problem there, because now you've done all that work to keep it alive all summer, all that hard work, for all of it to be nothing. In the spring, there might be hopes of replanting, but you just never know. So those are some of the things you can think about as you're walking around today. I know that's a really cheery subject to think about, but it's a reality that families are going to face here 400 years ago.
Why were there holes right there?
That's purely decoration. So with this being more middle class, they're not too rich and they're not too poor. So they don't have enough money to make it super really nice and fancy. A really fancy house in England would have a tapestry or some really nice artwork come here. We see a lot of middle class and farm families doing simple designs in the mud work of their walls of their houses. We also see them trading with the natives here for things like woven rugs and just New World oddities that make their houses stand out a little bit more. Human nature, hasn't changed. We like nice things in our homes. So it's same then. But it's apologize for it being a little dark in here. It's hard to interpret fortifying your house with all of the windows open. So hopefully it won't get too muggy in here today.
So they didn't have
Modern during the time of 1611 when people were first settling here at Henricus. Believe it or not, these weapons could actually fire sometimes 2 or even 3 times a minute, which is miraculous. And we're going to show you how it would take a man like a bowman 10 years to get the arm strength and the training to be able to properly fire a longbow in England. It took about 10 days to train a man to use this musket. And we're going to fire the musket 2 times, these muskets 2 times. First we're going to fire it, it's called a matchlock musket because it has a burning match. We're going to fire it the first time using the commands for training, and the second time the way they would fire it when in the field. Musketeer! I want you to use your musket rest at first firing, please. Some of these muskets were so heavy that they actually used something called a fourquette or a musket rest to steady it. Bring up your piece. Open your pan. Prime your pan. Shut your pan. Cast off loose corns. Blow off your pan. Cast about your piece. Handle your charge bottle. Charge your musket. You notice how when they're charging it, they're keeping the barrel away from their face so if there's a misfire, it doesn't blow them up. Withdraw your scouring stick, same thing as a ramrod. Shorten it and ram home your charge. Withdraw your scouring stick and put it away. Bring up your piece. Now at this point, they would have actually loaded a musket ball in the piece, which is we're not doing here today. Tuck your match. Try your match.
Cody, Tyler, here's
Blow on your match. Present your piece. And give fire. Uncock your match. Blow out your pan. So that's but there were actually 43 commands, depending on whether or not you were firing with the forkette or not. So now we're going to fire once again, and we're going to show you how you would fire in the field when you're actually fighting in a battle. You can imagine line upon line of musketeers, and that's the only way these men could fight successfully here in the New World, wearing armor like this gentleman here, protect themselves from arrows, and from line upon line of musketeers firing. Musketeers, make ready. And when they're done getting ready, they'll hold up their hand to show the officer that they are ready to fire. Present your piece and give fire. Misfire. You okay? On line called snap-haunces, dog locks, and flint locks, like this pistol this gentleman has. Usually, while these men were reloading all that time, there would be people standing out front with shields called targeteers, and they would also have a pistol and a sword. And you'll see how this weapon is in some ways far superior to the musket.
Yeah, it's superior in some ways, right? But also, for my money, the matchlock's actually a little more reliable. This doesn't need a match. It has a flint. This is now, it's not loaded. I'll load it in a second. This flint, when I pull the trigger, is going to snap down and hit this piece of metal called a frizzen. When it does that, this pops open, the spark created drops down into the pan, and the same reaction is what happens with the muskets. You get a big loud boom. And the Indians go, what in the world was that? Now in Europe, they've seen these. Over here, the Powhatans have not. So these guns are quite the psychological edge over the Powhatan warriors, who were better fighters than we were. So we did every angle we could get. So the advantage of this is you don't have to have a lit match, because that lit match is hard to keep lit during a rainstorm or even a humid day. This, not every time do you get a spark. That's the disadvantage. You might get 5 shots in a row, and then because it wears as you fire, you might get a couple times when nothing fires, and then you do this, or you pull your sword. And that's one of the reasons they're so heavy, is because you need these for weapons. As guns become more reliable, notice handguns get smaller. When they're not that reliable, you need them as a secondary, you need a club as a secondary backup. So what I do, I'm carrying bottles because I'm a musketeer, but what I load this with is a cartridge. So that is something I made up in advance, a piece of paper with powder in it. I gotta stop waving this at you, sorry.
No, I'm fine, I'll step out of the way.
Muzzle etiquette says even if the gun's empty, you never aim it at a person, but sometimes that can be difficult. So I've got it in a half-cocked position, and this little dog leg piece locks it so it can't go off. And I've got the powder pan open. That's the manly part. You spit out the paper. Rawr.
You're supposed to swallow it.
No! It's bad for your digestion. You don't want to have stomach problems when you're fighting, right? Close that pan. There you go. Now I've got powder in there. The rest of it you dump down the barrel. And I'm going to, instead of using a musket ball, because our insurance company doesn't like us to do that, I will shove the wad down there, take my scouring stick, which doubles as a conductor's baton, should you feel the urge. Put that back in. I'm going to step over here. I'm going to pull it back all the way. Its safety's off. Have a care! Give! Fire! And then sometimes that happens. And that actually did happen. Like I said, sometimes you get 3 or 4 shots in a row, sometimes nothing.
I saw a spark too.
Yeah, there was a spark, but not enough. Here we go. Give! Fire! Worked all morning.
Sometimes the flint gets, you can see him wiggling it, getting it back into position
forward.
once again.
Blah, blah, blah. Oh. So the flint is supposed to do that.
About 95 cell.
But the open pan black powder gun, regardless of your ignition system, has the advantage where you can actually. One of the Indians joked earlier that if he lived 400 years ago, he would have taken all the English match. That way they couldn't shoot at them.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, but then you can use a candle, which would be awkward. But the thing is, and that's the same with this gun, with the matchlock. As long as you've got an ignition source, you're going to fire. And unfortunately, the flint's being obstinate. We got, what, 3 shots off today with this earlier?
Yes, they fired every time.
Yeah, so now, because I have people standing here, it's not going to.
Of course.
But,
How
so
accurate
anyway,
were these guns back then?
Sir Thomas Dale's men are expected to hit a human-sized target at 100 yards. Now the range on a 54 caliber, and some of these are both larger. What are these?
75.
75? So it's at least 300-yard range, but they're smooth bore, which means it's a smooth, there's no rifling. So that musket ball comes out kind of left, right, up, down. At 100 yards, the musket ball is somewhere in here. At 150, here. 200 yards here. 300 yards, you hit that window behind you. Now, if you're firing into an advancing group, you might hit something, definitely. If you're trying to hit an individual, 100 yards is about your range. But over here in Virginia, the Powhatans, their best marksmen, the best archers rather, can shoot a bow about 50 yards, maybe a little bit more, and they can shoot your eye out at 50 yards. But I got at least a 50-yard advantage now, don't I? But what just happened?
Right.
What happened to my advantage? Gone. And that's why, as he was saying, we would fight in groups. You had the targeteers in front, the musketeers in back. If I had failed, I'm above you here. You're good. If I had failed in real life, I either would have clubbed it, and I would have had a shield, by the way, because I'm using that big metal shield over there. That's what the targeteers carry. Or I would have discarded this and drawn my sword. But I wouldn't have been leapt upon probably by the Powhatans because I got so many soldiers with me. You don't go out there and do this by yourself. It's not a good idea. We are so vastly outnumbered. It's estimated the Powhatan Indians numbered about 35,000. We came with 300. And now out of those 35,000, we don't know, but you got to think at least 6,000 to 8,000 of those are warriors who've been trained since 5 and 6 years old to fight. So we are completely in over our heads over here. Jamestown and us, we come 4 years later. So it's really kind of a miracle we survived, if you think about it. But it's the training that did it. If you can picture, what we did was called a rolling load. Again, 20 seconds is your best time. Anyone who's not a musketeer but is male, 16 to 60 is required to learn a musket. That's the militia. And that's what you guys are representing, the militia, right? And you're expected to fire at least once every 30 seconds. But still, that's a lot of work. It's pretty fast. So what you do is imagine in your head 25 guys, 5 across, 5 deep. In front of each of those 5 columns, you have a targeteer with a shield, down on one knee, with his pistol up and ready to go. He's going to walk up behind me as I'm kneeling down and get off a shot with his musket, step out, begin to reload, and go to the back of the line as the next guy steps up. Picture 5 guys by 5 doing that. You're going to get a constant rate of fire. It's not bang, count to 30 or 20. It's bang, bang, bang. Now that's 5 by 5. Imagine 300 men doing a variation of that. We are capable of sending a lot of lead through the air very, very, very fast. But think if we didn't do that. If every man fired at will, it wouldn't work out as well. So again, it comes down to drill, discipline. Without that, despite these weapons being high technology, these guys are going to wipe us out in short order very easily. Okay, I'm finished lecturing. Sorry.
Also, too, one of the things about these weapons here, they're also show them how you club your musket. I've always thought these muskets look a lot more dangerous like this. I would rather for somebody to shoot at me than hit me over the head with it. It'd be a much cleaner wound.
Yeah. The thing is, with these, when you do that, you're going over here. You're going up against a Powhatan who has a tomahawk, maybe about half that size, but it's basically a big wooden club.
Yeah.
And again, they've been learned to use that since they were kids. He's not very well versed in clubbing his piece. Yeah. We try to avoid hand-to-hand combat as much as possible because we're mostly going to get our butts handed to us when we do that. To be honest with you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Tell you when to cover your ears if you want to. It's not too loud, but I'll let you know. So let's load up.
Drive safe. Good seeing you. And call me if you need anything. Send me an email. It's probably the easiest way to get to me. It may take a couple days, but I'll get back to you. And remind me of the things I'm supposed to say.
Cover your ears.
I know, that's why
Good. Fire.
but send me a note.
That's the
I'll
musket.
attach them and pick it back.
Now, you saw it did take a little time to load. You know, not too slow, only about 20 to 30 seconds. But the question was, what happens if you're fighting the Indians, right? They could shoot 10 arrows in the time, you know, you fire one shot.
Yep.
Well, that's where you come in, right? I said you were trained as soldiers. Come on over. Lee, right? Yep. I need some volunteers. So, Lee, I want you to stand right here and face me. And we just need a single line. Great. Fall in, soldier. I need a couple more soldiers. Fall in, there you go. I need one more person, one more. Where are my strong ladies?
Okay.
Yeah, like 50 musketeers. They're all wearing armor. They all have their muskets and swords, right? Everyone has their equipment.
Yep, got it. Yep.
Now,
Check.
we could all fire at the same time, right? We could have all 50 of us shoot. But what would happen during that reload time?
We'd
right?
all be ducks in the water.
Right? What would another tactic we could do instead? Yeah, you got it. So they would use volley fire. They would have 10 men shoot, 10 men, another 10, and another 10. And so by the time you have to shoot again, what do you have time to do? Reload. Okay, so let's show you what that would look like. So we need a straight file. That's just a line in the military. So address your file. Everybody should be right behind my arm. Take it you don't make files a lot. There you go. There you go. Okay, great. And you can take a couple steps back. Just right. You don't need to be right in front of the person in front of you. So what we're going to do, everyone's going to have a rank. First rank, second rank, third rank, fourth rank, fifth rank, sixth rank. First rank, raise your hand. Second rank, third rank, fourth rank, fifth rank, sixth rank. Does everyone know their rank? This is the most silent musketeers I've ever had.
Yes, sir.
So what we're going to do is when I call your rank, for example, I'll say, first rank, present your piece. You're going to aim your musket right at the palisade, just like I did. Give, fire, boom, retire, step to your right, and you're going to go to the end of our file and start reloading, right? The next man will shoot, the next man, and so forth and so forth. So let's try this. First rank, present your piece. Give, fire. That's a pretty quiet musket there, sir. It's quiet. Give, fire. Boom, retire. Yep, so go back to the end of the file and you start reloading. Second rank, present your piece. Give, fire. Boom, retire. Third rank, present your piece. Give, fire. Boom, retire. Second rank, are you reloading? I don't see you putting that gunpowder in. Fourth rank, present your piece. Give, fire, retire. To the right, to the right. Fourth rank, where are you going? You got to go to the right because you're in a whole formation, right? So everyone has to move the same rate. Fifth rank, right?
Yeah, I'm good.
So you're the sixth rank?
I'm good. Maybe. She's six.
Fifth rank, present your piece. Give, fire, retire. To the right, to the right. There we go.
That's why I'm not in the military.
Sixth rank, present your piece. Give, fire,
I'm reloading.
retire. And by now, what does our first rank had time to do? Reload. Are you reloaded?
Reloaded.
All right, we're gonna go one time, trying to make it really quick. First rank, present your piece. Give fire. Boom. Retire. Second rank, present your piece. Give fire. Boom. Retire. Third rank, present your piece. Give fire. Boom. Retire. Fourth rank, present your piece. Give fire. Retire. Fifth rank, present your piece. Give fire. Retire. Sixth rank, present your piece. Give fire. Retire. Hey, and so we can see in just a couple minutes of drilling, you guys could master this. Imagine the colonists who are forced to wear armor to drill every day. How efficient do you think they would be at this manner of fighting? Right? And so that was how you could use the musket. And so musketeers, you are dismissed. So you guys can get out of your file. What Do you have any questions for me about anything or anything you're wondering about? Anything else?
Training in the sword?
That's a great question. Do you get training in the